So, in this mentor video, we're supposed to read the whole essay paragraph by paragraph. So we'll read one paragraph and then we'll discuss it and see if we need to make any changes or what was good about it. And then we'll go to the next paragraph and so on and so forth. So the gist of my whole paper is comparing Japan and the United States with regards to gun control and how strict Japan is and how loose the United States is. So my title is Taking Notes from Japan. Do you think that's...
Oh, that's
I
good.
don't know. She wants us to do something like... it's not just like Japan...
Stating exactly what
yeah,
you're talking
America
about.
versus Japan and gun control. Like, yeah, she wants us to... I don't know.
That's good.
Okay. All right, so the first paragraph, the introduction, it says, the United States is the most armed country in the world. It also has the highest gun-related deaths. Comparing other countries' gun laws, number of owned guns, and gun-related deaths, it is apparent that the number of owned guns is positively correlated to gun-associated deaths. Countries like Japan have high standards to uphold in order to own a gun, making them not easily accessible. Due to the rigid criteria that Japanese gun owners are expected to maintain, the number of owned guns is minimal, as is their death rates by firearms. America needs to adopt the rules and regulations that Japan has set in place with regards to firearms so that gun-related deaths decrease and safety is sustained.
Ooh.
So what do you think about my first sentence?
Well, it grabs my attention because there is so many gun-related deaths.
Okay. So it's good.
But I didn't know we were the most armed country in the world, so I'm wondering what I want to know more.
You can talk louder.
Okay, I wanted to know more.
Okay. Cool. Is my thesis clearly stated, do you think? So my thesis is the last sentence of my first paragraph.
Yeah, America needs to adopt. Yeah.
So that
it's very clear.
now my paragraphs need to refer back to the thesis, yeah. And what instead of usually like the 3 body paragraphs that people usually have, I just did 2 body paragraphs because I'm just comparing America and then Japan. So
Okay.
So then my first body paragraph says, America was formed through the usage of guns, but the need for them no longer exists. A gun is designed to fire a missile that can penetrate through flesh, essentially a killing machine. They are solely death weapons. There are nearly 300 million privately owned firearms in the United States, 106 million handguns, 105 million rifles, and 83 million shotguns. That is almost 1 gun for every American. The United States has the highest rate of civilian gun ownership in the world. The obstacles in order to attain a gun permit in America are minimal. Most states require a complete firearm safety training. The lesson consists of only 90 minutes and is not sufficient enough precaution. A little under half of the gun consumers can bypass this training altogether. According to Jill Lepore for The New Yorker, 40% of the guns purchased in the United States are bought from private sellers. Private sellers include gun shows, classified ads, and private exchanges fall into a different category. Okay, so these fall into a different category, thus making them unregulated. So there are different laws for private and stuff. Okay, so making such destructive weapons so easily accessible can tragically be placed in wrong hands. 30,000 people die each year from guns in the United States. The idea that more guns will create less crime is false. Adding more wood to the fire will not lessen the flame, but enhance it. I just added that. So we're supposed to start each paragraph with our own words and end each paragraph with our own words, kind of like summing it up, and then within it you have a lot of facts. Or paraphrasing other people. That's why you're citing a lot. So, what do you think about my second paragraph?
I think you need to integrate the quote just a little bit better to make it flow.
Okay. And I kind of sound redundant. Essentially, a killing machine, they're solely death weapons. I guess I could remove that. And then...
Yeah.
Maybe say something that introduces the quote better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Do you think that supports my thesis about America and how they view guns and their laws?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
The numbers are staggering.
Yeah. Okay, so then my second body paragraph is talking about Japan and their rules and how they kind of view guns. So Japan has forbidden almost all kinds of firearm ownership, and their gun-related deaths is close to none to show for it. Even the police did not carry firearms themselves until 1946, when the American Occupation Authority ordered them to. Which I don't get that. Yeah, but it was something that I read. Strict laws are set in place, making owning a gun very difficult and, unlike America, not easily accessible. The only guns that Japanese citizens are able to buy are shotguns, and only if they meet the harsh criteria. To acquire a gun in Japan, you have to attend classes and then pass a written test. This is then followed by a shooting range class and the shooting range test. After the safety exam, the applicant goes to a hospital where they are given various tests.
Come back.
Okay.
You could maybe just no.
Okay.
Pull that part out.
All right. Okay, where is that? Okay, after the safety exam, the applicant goes to a hospital where they are given various tests to ensure that they are mentally stable and are not addicted to any drugs. America does not make you do that, by the way. The police then investigate the person's background, and those who are related to that person. The police then investigate the person's background, and those who are related to that person. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
For any criminal records. After all this, the police still have the power to deny someone of a license if they believe there's suspicious behavior or if that person could be harmful. So they ultimately have like the say-all. You could pass all that and still not be able to go in. Once they become a gun owner, they have to store their gun in a locker. The owner has to give the police a map of where exactly the locker is located. Each round of ammunition purchased is kept track of and recorded to prevent unlawful behavior. Annual gun inspections are made, and licenses are to be renewed every 3 years, repeating the same process. As Japan has increased their control on guns, their death rates by guns-related events have dropped. In 2008, when America had over 12,000 gun-related homicides, Japan experienced only 11. The 11 deaths in 2008 were considered a high in comparison to the merely 2 deaths 2 years prior in 2006. Those 11 Japanese deaths are less than the deaths of the Aurora shooting alone. Do you remember the Aurora shooting? There's 12. And this is altogether the 11.
Wow.
The gun per capita for every 100 people is 90. Oh, I should have said in America.
Yeah.
Because that's in America. In America. This number is highly contrasted to the per capita of merely 0.6 guns per 100 people in Japan. So it's saying for every 100 people, 90 people own guns in America, and 0.6 people own guns in Japan. So, do you think that my first sentence gives a good example of what this paragraph is going to be about?
You could elaborate a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I could add that their rules are stricter because all I say is that
Those are more strict, yeah.
Yeah. I say something more about the rules because I focused a lot on the rules, how to get a gun in Japan. Okay. Do you think it's a good idea how I contrasted, like to put in perspective because our populations are different, but per 100 people versus America and Japan? Do you think that's
I think
a good point?
That's a good way to compare them.
Okay. And then my conclusion is the United States has many loopholes that are easy to bypass in obtaining firearms. On the other hand, Japan has made a one-way, no-nonsense means of putting guns in the hands of civilians. Owning a gun in Japan is a privilege, unlike America where it is a right. Tsutomu Uchida, who owns a rifle training center in Japan, states, in the U.S., people believe they have a right to own a gun. In Japan, we do not have that right, so our point of departure is completely different. With up-to-date records and more stringent laws, America could lower gun-related deaths. Taking notes from Japan could control gun violence and potentially save innocent lives. It is easy to compare statistics just thinking they are merely numbers, but each number represents a life that was lost and a grieving family that was left behind. Better precautions could be taken by embracing Japan's regulations on firearms so that gun-related deaths will fall and safety will be restored.
Oh, I think that's good.
So my last sentence of my conclusion is kind of like a rewarded sentence of my thesis, saying that we need to embrace Japan's rules so that death rates by guns will fall and safety will be restored.
Yeah.
And so that was my bigger picture on...
Yeah, well, and I like how you said it's easy to compare statistics because they're just numbers, but...
Yeah. Like you think, oh wow, Japan only had 11, like, that's so good, but in reality that's still 11 people that died.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But that's a lot less than what America shows. Okay, well that's it.
Okay.